Hi everyone, my name is Brent Keane and I am an entrant in iiNet's TopGeek 2.0 competition. I placed in the Phantom category due to my love of comics, which has been exemplified by my Tumblr blog, Keen on Comics. Now, in order to reach the final five, I've been tasked with the challenge of producing a video displaying my knowledge of fandom by coming up with a concept that could conceivably have a fan following of its own. However, I don't have a fancy video editing software or a PC/Mac in which to process said video in a capable fashion, so I've opted to take a lo-fi back to basics approach with my entries. So it's just me talking straight to the camera. So let's talk about fandom. For a long time I was swimming in I guess you could say, a certain Egyptian river about how geeky I actually was. I used to be a nightclub DJ, believe it or not. I still read comics and I love Doctor Who, but I kept these things on the down low. In fact, I was told outright by co-workers that these things were not cool to mention out loud. And being a DJ is the coolest of the cool, which eventually led to me having something of an identity crisis. So who was I? Was I Mr. Cool Guy, or was I the comic book geek I'd been since high school? I ended up giving DJ away eventually, mainly because I got sick of playing the same Katy Perry song night in, night out, you know the one, don't make me sing it out loud. And I tried to figure out who I was. Eventually, I met somebody whom I thought was the woman of my dreams, and we became friendly because I had been a DJ and so was she. But she responded to the geeky side of who I was. She was a cosplayer, she read comic books, she loved internet memes, and she eventually changed me on a fundamental level because she put me back in touch with who I really was at heart. Now, the first Super Nova Expo I attended was in Melbourne 2 years ago, and I joked on my blog then that I would wear a t-shirt which had Clark Kent transforming into Superman, with the legend, "I'm not always this nerdy." Her response on her Twitter: "Bullshit. You are so nerdy. Nerdy. Own it, dude." I tried to be casual about it, but the truth was that her words had struck something of a chord in me, and attending that particular convention sent me back on the path towards who I really was. Now, sadly, we've had a part of the ways since then, but I at least took the opportunity to thank her for being part of my life by obtaining a signed copy of her favourite childhood comic book, which I had signed by the creators at that convention. Her face when I presented said comic to her was truly a look of joy, like Christmas had come early, and I was glad I was able to do that for her. I'll touch on why in a bit. A couple of months later, I did eventually start my blog, and which has led to meeting some wonderful people and taking advantage of amazing opportunities that otherwise would have escaped me entirely. Instead of repressing my geeky tendencies, I embraced them fully, and in doing so I began to realise my potential. You see, when I was a DJ, to be honest with you, I was a bit of a dick, an elitist snob. I had a lot of growing up to do. Like this individual here, one Tony Stark, I had to take responsibility for my actions. For Odin's son right here, I had to learn humility. Like Bruce Banner, I had to learn how to control my anger. And like Steve Rogers, I had to learn to tap into what was best inside me. And I didn't always succeed, but whenever I stumbled, I own my behaviour and I apologise for my mistakes. In short, I learned to like myself, to become a fan of who I was the whole time instead of denying it. In fact, adopting the maxim Will Wheaton has since coined, "Don't be a dick," has proved to be a productive and useful life rule. It's too easy to be a troll on the internet or in the mythical place known as in real life, because fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, and anger, say it with me now, leads to the dark side. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been multiple opportunities where I could have unloaded on some self-styled, anonymous armchair warrior, but where would have that got me? It would have made me look like a tool, basically, and by being more positive in what I do, people respond likewise, and not only did that become more apparent last weekend when I attended Supernova, again, from being a nervous, unsure con newbie 2 years ago, I had the self-esteem finally to approach people and say, hey, that's a great costume, do you mind if I take a photo or make sure people will see it? Or even better, hey, I like your work, thank you. It's okay to be a fan because everyone else there was doing the same thing. I'll give you an example. I happened to meet Stephanie Bendixson, who most people would know as Hex from Good Game on ABC2. Now, she was there that afternoon as a fan, and when I happened to chance upon meeting her, I made no secret how big a fan I was of the show. She likewise wasn't a fangirl high from meeting Edward James Olmos, who most people would know as Colonel Adama from the reimagined Battlestar Galactica. So say we all. She had the photo to prove it too. We were both geeking out, and that is a very cool thing. Trying too hard to be cool got me nowhere. Being myself took me to places I never dared dream. It's one of my favourite writers, Garth Simone, put it recently, and I'll have to read this. Geek culture is the culture of the outsider, the playful, the one who imagines. If you want to belong, you belong, and at last I finally belong somewhere. You must be the change you want to see in the world, said Mahatma Gandhi, and he was right. Once I made the effort to be closer to who I was, things have changed dramatically. I had to be the best fan of myself in order to be the best me I could be. And that's not always easy. I'm human, I make mistakes, but as soon as I made the effort to like myself more, others did too, not in an arrogant, cultural, self-absorbed way, but in understanding how people make a difference in my life, and by letting them know how much I appreciated them, then my life became that much richer and fuller. If someone makes a difference to your life, tell them, it never hurts. Like I did with the woman I mentioned before, like I do with my family each time I see them, and like I did with one of my favourite comedians, Felicity Ward, who I've been a fan of for a couple of years now, and who I saw during this Melbourne International Comedy Festival just passed. I'm a huge fan of hers and she knows it. She graciously signed a photo of me, for me I should say, when I caught her show The Hedgehog Dilemma this weekend past, which was intensely funny, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you've missed out. And that's what being a fan is all about. It's geeking about somebody or something because they make your life better. And I honestly wish more people understood that. Will Wheaton, once again, it isn't complicated. You could be kind and awesome, or you can be a petty and selfish dick. What do you choose? I do my best to be the former. And I try to do the same because, as the saying goes, it gets better. And in the end, it doesn't really matter how many comic books you have, how many action figures you own, if you've seen every episode of Star Trek. Unless you can actually share that with other people, then what's the point? My name's Brent Keane. I'm a fan of comic books, and of cosplay, and of Doctor Who, and of stand-up comedy, and to coin a phrase, I'm geeky and I know it. Even better, I love it. Thanks for your time. And now the awkward bit at the end where I try and shut the camera off and not look like a fool. Bear with me.